Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Pauline, and in today's video I want us to talk about what you would do if you woke up one morning and the Lord boards were shut down. It sounds like it can never happen, but it has happened. It has happened, and it can happen in so many different ways that you have no access to the Lord board. Sometimes it might not shut down completely, but you might be there and there's nothing for you. And that typically is a shutdown that I would consider in this position. Because if you are on the Lord board and there's nothing good going in the direction that you want to go or anywhere you want to go, you do not see anything nice for you to work with that very day, that very week, I want to think that the Lord board has shut down on you. So the thing is, you might come up and say, oh, I work with multiple Lord boards, and that is going to be okay at one point. So let us just take this in a scenario. Starting out, yes, you start with one truck. If you are a freight dispatcher or an owner-operator, then I'm talking to you. This is the video that I want us to sit down and think about. You start out with one truck and you're fine using a load board. You open your DAT, your truck stop, your 1, 2, 3 load board. If you have selectors, you have that. And you are probably relying on 1 or 2, to find your loads. Yes, every day it is good. You find some loads here and there, but I want to bring you to the thinking that, what do you think the Lord board is? From what I think, I'm looking at the Lord board as the place where they throw all the other loads that have not been taken by the big carrier companies. Most of the time when these big brokerages, if you are looking at things like Experian, Swift, all of those guys, they have loads and they mostly first give them to their carriers, to the in-house trucks, and then the other little scrap mostly goes out to the entire world, to the rest of us, So when it comes down, most of the time it comes down with crazy little pay, if you can know what I mean. They always come down to the rates of 1.3 per mile, 1.2. It's not ashaming to, acknowledge the fact that some brokers here are paying really, really low rates. This is not a rant about how much or how little they pay, because some of them pay really good, but it just goes on to show that things do get pretty tight if you are relying on this one source of finding loads. As you, a company who is trying to grow your business and be able to look at future ideas of scaling, you want to be able to have some sort of confidence in the systems that you're using. And one of them is using the load boards. And if one day, like I've seen many times so far now, I've realized the load boards that we use, I'm not going to name names, they can be shut down in a day. It's been some time. I think I've had like 3 instances so far when a major load board shut down and we were just using phone calls to call in the loads that we wanted. You would call in and you would wait in line for like 69 people in front of you, and then you would give in the lanes that you want, and they would send you an email of the available loads from the brokers. Then you would call on the brokers. It was a weird situation altogether. But you know how we work the load boards. You have to keep changing things. You have to keep changing, directions where you want to go. So imagine getting in line over and over and having a freaking phone sitting there on hold for over 40 minutes waiting to be able to get loaded. And also just imagine if you have like 10 trucks, 15, 20 trucks, and one day the load board is shut down. All your drivers are seated out there waiting for you to get them something to feed their families, and things are not working out well for you. what do? There's a whole lot of people depending on you. So we want to be able to work towards securing that. As a person who loves to have a plan B, who loves to sit down secure in my system and having a knowledge of what to do if things go south, I want to be able to get this, straight up and fix it, try to find ways around it. And whatever it happens, I'm not going to be panicking because I have this backup plan ready to run. Just like a generator, power shuts off, I know what is going to be happening and I know how to remedy this, and I teach this to all my staff and everything is all good. So starting out, what we want to understand is that if you're using a load board, you're practically on a borrowed land, a borrowed platform, a borrowed platform. You at any moment have no control over what happens. You have no control over what kind of freight you get. Today you might run 1,000 miles for $2,000. Then they're paying you $2 per mile. Tomorrow you're going to find the same miles by a different broker giving you $1,200, giving you $1,300. Some of them go to the extent of paying you just $1,000. And that is not a good position to be in. You want to be able to put yourself or put your company in a position that you are able to also get that first time cream of all the loads before they are trickled down to the load boards, and be able to give your carriers, your drivers, the higher pay and stay competitive and also see some kind of consistent growth. Why I speak this over and over again, if you are zoning out, I want you to think about the scenario where 1 month you make like 20,000, 25,000 from one track, and you are so happy, and then you take off $1,000, $10,000 to go into expenses, and then you realize that you have 15,000 left in some sort of net profits, a little bit more, a little bit less, and then you think, okay, this is a good start. If I project this out 12 months, I'm gonna have such and such kind of growth. But then the following month, you're not getting the same numbers. Why? Because of the inconsistencies that are on the load boards, because they shut down one day, because you are working with different brokers in this case that have different pricing points, and you are just going to get by whatever is presented to you. So what do you do in this sort of scenario? You have to be able to come to the point of developing direct relationships. Again, we are speaking about this, I think the second time. The first time was when we are trying to mine these direct shippers and direct brokers. A video here is going to be linked out. You can go and watch it. But having direct relationships is becoming more and more important for an everyday carrier or everyday broker, because we both rely on the load board for us to be able to get and grow our business and grow our relationships. So having direct brokers, a direct broker email list that you send out a blast for the available loads or for the available trucks where your trucks are parked at, is very, very crucial. Because this allows you for you to be able to bid without all the noise. Imagine throwing a piece of meat to all these hungry dogs and they are all jumping onto it. Whoever has the bigger jaw to take a bigger bite is the one who gets fed the most. That is what happens with the load boards. They throw it out. Whoever gives the least amount, of rate to take the load is the one who wins it. But how much so low can you take yourself to the extent that it begins to hurt your sales and begins to hurt your revenue and in the end your growth? You want to be able to put yourself in a position whereby you are decreasing on the amount of competition that you have to face on a daily basis when you are bidding out for these loads. That means having direct brokers and direct shippers, and these are the people who are going to help you see some sort of consistent or close to consistent revenue coming into your account on a daily basis. You want to develop this over time. Yes, at the start, when you're starting out, the load boards are fine and they're okay. And they might be all that you might need if you are somebody who is just comfortable with staying with 1 or 2 trucks. But if you're looking at scaling your business, if you are an owner operator, a carrier, or a dispatcher trying to grow and scale your business, it's not a reliable way for you to be looking at things, because they have shut down and they are not giving the most pay when it comes to comparisons if you are dealing with them who have the jobs directly. That is why you also want to think about really investing time and energy into nurturing and growing the relationships that come with having direct shippers. These are people that are supposed to be giving you loads that are directly from the warehouse, no middleman, in spite of how important the middleman is on both ends, because to the shipper, they have access to multiple trucks, other than you as a company who has just a few trucks that you could give just one shipper. Yes, they need access to multiple pools of carriers, different sizes, different days, and you might not be giving that. But finding shippers who are probably going to end up giving you a dedicated lane for your different trucks, or even to be able to grow as a company with 1 or 2 shippers, if they can be able to give you a contract for a year or more, then you can be able to see some kind of growth over time. Thank you so much for watching. That was my 2 cents on what is happening and how you can be able to put yourself in a better position. Thank you for giving me your time and seeing this channel grow. I really appreciate it. Let's meet again in the next video. Goodbye.